Yes, legends, how is everyone doing? Let's analyze the situation together here for the price of Bitcoin. Let's go, legends. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's analyze the situation here all together. Let's go right away through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community. Let's analyze the situation for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is doing pretty damn okay with a bounce. We're still hitting the previous all-time high from January, getting that resistance. Are we going to see higher levels? Are we going to reject from here and go to the sub $106,000? There are a few scenarios. Of course, we need to talk about what was mentioned yesterday, because yesterday we mentioned a few different waves and patterns on how the price action could develop. And we kind of moved in some ways that we mentioned throughout the stream yesterday. And today we need to analyze very carefully what is next. Okay, what are the major levels? Is it a good option to get into a short in this zone? Is it a good option to get into a long? We need to talk about the levels, guys. We need to talk about the setups. Let's go quickly through the comment section, say hello to the absolute legends here. And let's go. Fire music, drums. Yes, sir. Let's get that music on the background. And let's dive in right away. For 50 likes, Andy will do shirtless stream. Maybe, maybe. We need a bit more likes than that. How many likes do we have already? We've got over 200 people watching the stream right now. And let's see how many likes. Yeah, 50 likes we got. We can get to 100 likes right away, legends. As I do go through the comment section, say hello to the incredible community. And let's focus on Bitcoin, guys, because there's many scenarios, okay? We're going to lean, you know, with the scenarios that we were talking about throughout yesterday, okay? Some scenarios yesterday, we did get that double top. We did get one wick to the upside. I'm not sure if anybody managed to jump into that short. However, the price is literally at entry point. So hopefully some of you guys, you know, we're looking for day trades. We understand that this could correct down and get a bounce based on yesterday's stream, right? We were talking about the possibility of taking out those highs, coming down here, all right? And then, you know, possibly getting back up, okay? So if anybody got into this short position, you know, profits had to be taken, right? It's a day trade. We don't know if the price is really going to roll over aggressively and, you know, come and take out the lows. Eventually, if you're in a short position, then that would be the best option. But overall, you need to take some profits, regardless if it's 50%, 70%, whatever you want, right? And obviously, you cannot turn that trade, that double top locally that we mentioned throughout yesterday. It would be nice to get that double top scenario, which it ended up getting that nasty wick, right? These are the kind of the nasty wicks, because there are people interested in getting into that short, okay? Maybe you were in the short already. We talked about, you know, maybe some people got stopped out. Maybe some people did not get stopped out because their stop loss was slightly above. If you had your stop loss here, maybe you got stopped out. But the re-entry was definitely the option yesterday, okay? SFP from those highs, stop above the high, and look for the price to get that rollover. $1,000, $1,500, right? It's a day trade kind of scenario. We did end up dropping here, and we actually got a bounce. Now, this bounce, this is what we're going to analyze today. What are the options? What are the different options on how the price could develop in between today and tomorrow, guys, right? Higher time frame is boring. We ain't going to talk about moving averages, what could happen, all-time high, Bitcoin to 200K. We are day traders. We look for the price action internally here and try and come to the conclusion of what could happen every day. I'm not right every day. I try and, you know, be right most of the times. And of course, yesterday, you know, was one of those days on the different scenarios that we were looking for a rejection, local double top, movement down. We could get support here and start rallying to the upside. We have a few bullish case scenarios and a few bearish ones, okay? And we are going to restructure the different scenarios today also, right? Because does that mean that I'm bullish? Does that mean that we're only going to see all-time high from here, right? Correction maybe, and then all-time high? No, we still have bearish scenarios. However, with this price action that has developed with the rejection from yesterday, well, it makes sense that the price will not come down aggressively with success, okay? Meaning that this is unlikely for the price of Bitcoin right now, okay? So movements to the downside are going to be looking very interesting, okay? They're going to be looking very, very interesting. I've got a few options here based on the new information that we have with this price action. And with this new information that we have right over here, it's unlikely that we do get an aggressive move to the downside to get below $106,000 for the moment, right? For the moment. It doesn't mean that this cannot happen. It means that from this point to drop aggressively to sweep up below $106,000, you know, is an unlikely move, okay? I'm going to explain why eventually. Well, the main reason why is because we have moved down very correctively, right? We've moved down in a three-wave structure, which is what we were kind of, you know, expecting yesterday on how the price could develop, right? We could move down in a three-wave corrective structure and get that movement to the upside. So as we have had that three-wave structure to the upside and this rally has come all the way up here to this lower high, it means that moving down impulsively here is not an option, right? So we would not expect a wave 3 to break down very aggressively. Can we expect a wave 3 here like this? Yes, but I would assume, based on the information that we have, that it's unlikely to break down, as this is not an impulse, right? This is not an aggressive move to the downside, giving us the possibility of forming a contracting diagonal here if we were to move down, okay? So any movement down to the lows here could be an option to look for long opportunities. Do we have strong support? We're going to be going through that, of course, in the next coming minutes, okay? Who jumped into a short trade yesterday based on the double top, right, scenario that we mentioned, right? Possibly finishing your wave 5 here on this momentum to the upside. We might get one more wick to the upside and get a correction of $1,000 to $2,000, which is what was the case yesterday. Just a little scalp, okay? Not a swing trade, not a trade to have open. Of course, I do have an open position from lower and taken quite significant profits, realizing the bearish case scenario eventually. But I'm also realizing the bullish case, right? Which we could get that leg to higher levels, right? Where I want to be taking more profits at the resistance, or maybe even taking out the highs. So, you know, interested in leaving some of that position open to see if we can get an extended move to the upside, which is very, very possible, right, with the analysis. Let's go quickly through the comment section, and we'll analyze different scenarios. I want to know your opinion as well on Bitcoin, guys. Okay, I did create that poll here. What comes next for Bitcoin? We got over 200 votes already. All-time high is next. 57% of people voting for all-time high. 43% of the people saying sub 106K, right? We're looking, you know, it's a, you know, lots of local bearishness as well, okay? We got the perma bulls eventually. They always win, right? The perma bulls always win on the long term, right? It's inevitable. Don't fight Bitcoin. Carl, my man, much love to you, brother. How are you doing, Carl? Taking care of business. This guy, middle name. Much love to you. Jerome, BTC is trying again at the moment. Yes, it is. Okay, so anyway, Luis Bondia, grabbers. Hey, Lewis, good friend of mine here from Spain. Much love, Lewis. Jerome, Carl, Anthony, Carl, Romain, short, let's go. I'm not too confident on this short. You know, I'm out of that short scalp position yesterday and I got really bad profits. Okay, I have to be honest here. You know, this was a very, very crappy movement. Didn't maximize profit on this movement down from the double top scenario yesterday, and I'm out of that position. But it was you know, it was the option of yesterday, right? Maybe some people are still in the position, or they entered late, they're getting stopped out at break even. So maybe some of them locked most of the profits on this leg down. Maybe some of the people locked, you know, this is where the trader is different, right? We can talk about the analysis. My profits were crap, guys. They were really bad from this movement down. You know, I did enter the trade. I'm out of that trade, but the profits were not that great, okay? Because I didn't take enough profits. Eventually, I want to hedge against my long position, okay, as well. So I took it more of a hedge, not really as a day trade, you know, let's maximize profit. But maybe some of you have made epic profits. Maybe some of you are getting stopped out here close to break even and making very small profits. So this is where the trader is different, right? We can talk about this scenario. Look for a double top here, guys. You know, this is a nice little scalp short. We're, you know, probably going to drop down $1,000 to $2,000. Potentially that is the realistic movement. Then you can do whatever you want with that trade. Do you want to maintain your stop loss at a loss? Do you want to put it at break even? Do you want to take most of the profits down here? You know, this is really up to you, right? I can share the analysis, then you take action on what you want to do, right? At the end of the day, it's all information. I'm not a financial advisor. You know, you just take it as you wish, right? So let me know in the comment section, did anybody entering a short trade right now? I'll explain right away why I'm not that interested in a short position at this moment, legends, and that has to do with this movement, which looks insanely corrective. Of course, I am aware of the price coming down to the lows and maybe forming a contracting diagonal, but you know, we ain't gonna talk about that for the moment. For the moment, this movement up looks very 5-wavy. It does look like a leading move for the moment, and that is telling me that if we have a 3-wave structure here that looks corrective, you know, we're sweeping up this lower high. You know, the price wants to try and push higher. Okay, of course it could do this, But I don't care about that situation. I would rather say I've missed the short position. This is not a great short position for me at the moment. I do realize of the correction happening in this zone. I'm realizing that we could form a higher low here. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky trade. I mean, if we do get down to this zone, we get massive bullish CVD divergence and we form a very channel-y structure, okay? Then I would say, yeah, this is possibly going to be a good trade to get here to the highs, at least this high over here locally. But we need that information, right? We need the price dropping down, a little bit of a channel, bullish CVD divergence, and then say, okay, we got a long trigger here, potentially to take out the highs. So for the moment here, without a doubt, we are at resistance. We are at the previous all-time high from January, right? Previous all-time high, let's just put Jan here. Previous all-time high from Jan. And yeah, we're kind of back testing the level. So I am aware of this scenario here, getting a bit of resistance and obviously, you know, getting a little bit of a pullback, especially with very, very choppy price action here. It is uptrending. So, you know, trend is locally up. Would I say that this is a nice solid 5-wave structure? It does look very 5-wavy. So, you know, hopefully we do get some kind of a pullback in this zone. Right, where we just drop down, drop down, and then, you know, we kind of do not manage to continue breaking down here. If the price does really chop here in this range, right, and this, you know, next wave to the downside after the first one doesn't continue breaking down, then and we start overlapping the pivot low, we start moving up here, reclaiming that lower high, this is going to be looking quite bullish, right? You know, I would be saying this is looking very, very good. Local structure, movement down is corrective. You know, this would be the zone, right, that we would be interested, right? Anywhere in this area, once we create this price action, of course, we need that price action to be created. So yeah, not really too interested in where we at right now, but I'm going to be looking for different trading plans here, which I do have structured. Just like yesterday, right? We do go through the local trading plans. We are very cautious on what could happen. We realize where the, you know, the trades can lie, right? Yesterday's closest scenario, which we were at resistance, was forming a local double top here and getting the movement down. So we explained the entry zone, the day trade setup, which was getting into that double top, right? Locally, wait for the rejection, enter the trade, movement down, you're in a good trade, you're in profits, right? You don't want to turn that into a losing trade. So we'll be creating a few plans, and of course we will try and look for the highest probability trading setups. As I mentioned, I am not interested in a trade position at the moment here, either a short or a long. And the main reason why I'm not interested in the long position, just realizing that we have moved up here very nicely and a pullback could be an option. And I'm not interested in the short position, realizing the bullish case. You know, what if this is a multiple 1-2, right? We have bleed this movement to the upside, and that is leading to this bullish case scenario, right? Where you have a finished 3-wave structure. This was the bullish case scenario mentioned yesterday. We have a 5-wave move to the upside, a clear, crystal clear 3-wave corrective structure in this zone. And I don't want to short here, right? I just realized that these highs could be claimed. So not interested in the long, because I know we could correct. I would be interested in longing depending on what kind of price action is formed here, right? If we form a 3-wave structure, we start breaking trend, we overlap the last lower high, you know, it's a 3-wave movement, then this could be a good long option, stop beneath the low, right? And we're heading up to the highs to start collecting the profits. We need that information still, right? Then I would be interested in the long position. Well, why not a short? The short is purely based on this, right? This does look like a leading move up. This is very corrective, and I'm, you know, just aware that the price could be forming multiple 1-2s here, and we snap out here in a 3rd wave. So it's not the greatest zone for either a short or a long. However, there is going to be some good, interesting shorting levels, right? And some good, interesting longing levels. The most local longing level eventually would be, yeah, you have formed already your first initial wave to the upside here, and you are going to correct down, right? You get a movement to the downside from this zone, and you can see that this movement down is just not managing to push to lower levels, right? And it starts pumping and it starts overlapping these pivot low. It doesn't look impulsive. Then we can talk about a long position in this area eventually, right, to take out the highs. That would be the best option. So what would be the other short position? Well, short position for me is quite clear. Short position is quite clear. Where is the best shorting zone? The best shorting zone for me is looking at the naked point of control here, right? We're popping out at the moment. So, this is why I'm aware of the correction. I'm aware of popping out here. We do have, New York Open is not yet happening, okay? New York Open is not yet happening. We're 22 minutes early. We're just getting a little movement here to the upside. So right now we need to see how this movement up is developing, right? There's no quick short. There's no quick SFP. There's no jumping into a long position for me anyway. You can do whatever you want. But I'm going to, I'm here to get into winning trades, right? And for the moment here, it is not clear. It is not clear for any trading setups, and I need to wait for my levels, right? And eventually one of those levels, as mentioned yesterday, would be that naked point of control, right? Naked point of control. I don't like this movement up because it can be quite bullish. The main reason why it can be very bullish is because if this price action has got very, very shallow pullbacks, I mean, this could be your wave 5, but regardless, locally, multiple 1-2 scenario, right? And if we haven't had a proper, clear, corrective move, when you have such a nice, interesting leg to the upside, you want to see that pullback, right? And then, maybe look for the longs here or look for the longs on the breakout, depending on your strategy here. And with this movement up, if you grind up like this and you do not get a 3-wave pullback, right, to then maybe get the next leg up, just like this case right over here, then the danger of this scenario is that you are still forming the wave and you've only formed multiple 1-2s on waves, right? And then you still have the third wave and the 4-5s, right? 4-5s, then to complete that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Which would literally be this. However, you're forming the micro waves at the moment. And that is the danger with this scenario, that this could be the third wave developing, and it can actually blow our socks off, okay? So there's not going to be an immediate short trade setup based on this information that we are getting right over here, right? The risk of forming a third wave that really rockets here is there, right? I'm very much aware of that, so I don't want to be jumping into a short position on a, on a pump here without any exhaustion, right? Preferably we do get some kind of an exhaustion here in this zone after forming this leg to the upside. And the main reason why is because we have 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, possibly, okay? We don't know yet. And then eventually the third wave, and then your 4-5s, you're getting a bit of choppiness in this zone. You miss out on hitting the highs, and then we start correcting down, okay? So we need a little bit of choppiness in this zone. There's no quick swing failure pattern, and the main reason why there's not a quick swing failure pattern is because of this structure not getting a solid pullback, right? Not getting a solid pullback. And as we do not get that solid pullback, we have the risk. I'm not saying it is going to move like this. Of course, we could dump down from here. But the risk of developing a third wave here is very much real because of this information that we have here. Okay, so what I need to see here is choppiness, is exhaustion. This is the moment that you would be looking for the kind of double, triple top formations, right? Where you like chop, 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 right? And then you get the movement down. Okay, so let's see if the price does get a reaction. I would expect a reaction, but what I would expect here is choppiness, right? And the choppiness that I'm talking about is similar to this, right? Where you have your extended leg to the upside, right? And then you're looking for, your 4-5 situation here, which can be a running flat, and then your fifth wave. So you want to see a reaction at the resistance. And this, the moment we get here and we start reacting to this zone is where I'm interested in the local double triple tops, if you wish, right? That is where I'm going to get interested in the double triple tops, because there's going to be a lot of people interested in shorting in this naked point of control, right? Which is literally from this fixed volume profile right over here. But, you know, instantly, we talked about this level yesterday, but as we do have this new information, we're very much aware of the risks here of a third wave development. And maybe the third wave is going to fly through this level. I don't know. Right? So we need this zone to stop as resistance. So then we can analyze the situation and say, okay, this is looking pretty damn good. This would be absolutely epic, guys, if we were to get this choppiness here. There's going to be, in my opinion, lots of retail short positions entering possibly at this zone, because, you know, whoever has, you know, a little basic knowledge in trading, they will realize that eventually you have that naked point of control from this consolidation. And you also have the 7/8 Fibonacci, right? From this movement to the downside, which is at the $110,800. So what usually happens in this zone, right? You're going to get the aggressive traders that haven't analyzed the local price action and being aware of the risks of the price moving in a third wave. And really, you know, maybe this third wave is going to be massive. So we need the price action to stop, okay? If we have started this momentum to the upside with no big major pullbacks, then what we could be developing here is a multiple 1-2 setup, right? Where you have the third wave maybe developing. This could be the fifth wave extension right now, you know, and SFPs from here. I don't like it. You know, I don't like it for the moment. I'm very much aware of that third wave. Okay, so, you know, this, if it SFPs from here, so be it. I am not interested in this short position. Could it SFP? Absolutely yes. But I would not be interested personally on this short. Now, I am very interested in a short position, guys, considering the bearish case scenario, right? I mean, this might be a small little short scalp here is an option. Small position, and I would just really to kind of hedge, because there is a bearish case. You know, we need to talk about the other bearish case scenario, which is this one, right? This is another scenario that was mentioned yesterday. It would be rare for this C wave to just finish as we take out this high. Yeah, I mean, this is something that I am really also concerned about. You know, you could have a 5-wave move here. You got an extended 5th wave to finish your C wave. It would be a little bit shallow. The C wave, I mean, C wave is usually a little bit more punchy, right? They are usually a little bit more punchy than your A wave. So, yeah, I mean, it is not the greatest option, if I'm honest with you. You know, I would be kind of a little bit interested in getting into short, but I'm going to remain patient, guys. You know, if we were to drop from here, then so be it, right? I want to explain a little bit of what would be a best option for a short position. One of them is getting that leg to the upside and creating the box here, creating the choppiness in this zone, right? Similar to yesterday. And the main, you know, the main explanation for this is you literally, after your third wave big pump, right? You want to see, in this case especially, right, where you have multiple 1-2s possibly, is get that choppiness at the resistance. This is where it's going to be becoming interesting for a double top scenario, just very similar as yesterday's price action, right? Double top here was a great option. Whoever got into that short, guys, yesterday, I mean, we did talk about, you know, taking profits eventually on the movement down, right? Start taking profits at the 382 Fibonacci to the 50%. You know, because we could be correcting in this zone, right? Start taking those profits, because we were very much aware of this scenario, right? Short, yeah, this is great short, but be very much aware of this leg to the upside. So for this bearish case, the price needs to chop. It needs to chop very, very similar to this, especially considering this scenario. Right, this could be actually a multiple 1-2, where you have 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, or even 2 1-2s, right? You could arguably discuss that's a double 1-2, but this is where the zone could be interesting for a double, triple top even, right? You either get into the double top, where you actually pump, you correct down, and then you take out the highs again, because there will be a lot of shorts entering in this zone, in my opinion. Okay, and you with over leverage, and you're looking for them to get stopped out at some stage, and this is why you create this kind of double, triple top situation, right? That's what I would want to see here. Get the choppiness, get all of the retail out, right? And if you do start reacting at this zone, right, and start going sideways for the next coming hours, that's the moment that I'm going to be very much ready for a local double top. Worst case scenario is a triple top, okay? Just because we can take into consideration that there might be 3 waves, 1 and 2s here, right? There could be 3 of them. There could be 2 as well, because inside of this double 1-2 scenario, you could actually count this as a 1 wave, right? There is a little bit of 5 wave, but this is like really going on the lower time frame. We don't want to go too crazy. I just realized that my trigger for the short position is going to be getting the choppiness here, right? Reaction. If the reaction is real and we get the first pullback, that is the moment that we do know that this bearish case scenario is definitely an option here, right? This bearish case scenario is definitely an option. Okay, so we need to wait here, literally, okay? If the price does break out, then what we are looking at is a very, very strong bullish case, right? Where we have finished this 3-wave structure, and this was the best zone to start looking for the double, triple bottoms. This is something I mentioned on Sunday night. This might be the low. We might create one more low, but this is the zone where you manage risk, you re-enter the position again, because we could be getting that rally here to this zone, right? Or even, halfway through, it doesn't matter. And this is a kind of long that you want to consider taking, having open at least some of it, just realizing the bullish case. There might be a 3-wave corrective structure. This does look impulsive. That's good. Correction. We don't know how high this can go at the moment. So we're just going to have to let the price move up. I was going to be interested in a double top scenario here, but as mentioned, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And what would be a very, very good option as a confirmation, right? Let's keep it clear here. There's just no short at the moment. There's no short at the moment. The moment the short becomes interesting is getting the choppiness here, right? Create a wick, create a correction, claim the highs again, looking for the double top. And that's considering this scenario, right? The ABC. What if the price does reject from here, right? And it just gets a major dump, right? Because this is difficult when we're looking at the trading plans. So this, this would be obviously conservative. What if as in looking for the double, triple tops? What if the price does get a major rejection from here? Oh my goodness, Andy, I missed the short position. Well, it's very, very hard to know if we are going to get this rejection, especially understanding the local price action. So if that big rejection were to happen, all right, and we start claiming these lows, on the inverted side, what I want to see is a clear, movement down here in a 5-wave structure. I want to see the big rejection sweeping up all of the lows here and a 5-wave structure. I want to see a proper 5-wave structure, because the other option is here, and then I would be interested in the short position somewhere in this zone, but I need this structure to get developed. High volume in the middle, quite impulsive, and then my alarms go on and say, right, we could be developing this bearish scenario right over here. So yeah, I missed out in shorting the high. However, I will get more information and confirmation that this is without a doubt the structure that we are looking for to get that rollover. But I have confirmation, right, with this movement. I have a confirmation that the price is moving down impulsively. High volume, big rejection. You start moving in a 5-wave structure here on the 5-15 minute time frame, right? Very solid, very clear, right? We can see how the price action is developing in this zone. And this is why yesterday, taking a short from the double top as a day trade, okay, guys? Some people might take this wrong and say, short here and wait for 70K, right? No. This is a day trade. We were very much aware of the price holding support here, as this could be looking impulsive. But, with the information that we had yesterday, it was pretty clear that, you have that nice movement to the upside. We're hitting resistance, right? We do have the, an impulsive move right over here. A double top here would be perfect to label that wave 5. I didn't know if the price was going to double top. I didn't know if the price was going to hit the naked point of control on the 5th wave. But I'm ready for both scenarios. Either double topping here. If we don't double top, we look for the next level, and that would be the naked point of control of this zone. So we got the double top, we got the correction. So as like I said, I would say that this would be a missed short position for me, right? If we do reject here, because there is the chance of this being a 5th wave, right? There is a chance here of this being a 5-wave move up. And in an ABC, that's what you want to see. So for me, it's a little bit too risky. I'm aware of the 3rd wave here. I don't think, we're going to go to, I don't think it's going to explode. I just don't know, guys. I just don't know, right? It's just a risky short position, but I understand that the price could reject. I would rather get into a safer short position, right? At the end of the day, we're here to make money, guys. And not speculate and not say, oh my goodness, is it going to pump or dump? Or I need a little bit of more, information, and I need a little bit of more confirmation. So yeah, if the price were to reject from this zone, yeah, I am aware that this maybe has been the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish this C wave. Very shallow C wave. I mean, it happens. So there is a problem here, without a doubt. You got a bullish case scenario. The bullish case scenario eventually is ripping through here and going to higher levels. The bearish one is, yeah, could it finish here just testing the highs, front running that naked point of control? You've got a 5-wave structure here. Perfect. That's what you want to see on your C wave. I'm just very aware of the price going to slightly higher levels. In an ideal world for me, to be confident on that short position would be getting that, I mean, this is great. Why not? If we do get a range here and we start to claim the highs, I would start to be interested in the double top here. And maybe worst case scenario, the triple top. I mean, it would still be a very, very shallow 3rd wave, but I would really consider it as in 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? And then you get the movement to the downside very aggressively. So we want to pay attention here. If we start forming a range, we correct down, we test the highs, it might SFP again. That's the moment where it's going to be looking very, very interesting for the price to roll over. Okay, so it's really we need a little bit of more time here, right? Being patient in trading is the absolute key, right? And instead of say that the price does reject from here, oh, I missed the short position. Well, it's a dangerous zone to short, considering the bullish case. Multiple 1, 2, you're developing the 3rd wave. We need a little bit of a range and exhaustion right there to really see, okay, this could be the C wave. But as mentioned, right, if this were to be the case, where this is the 5th wave, which, is very, 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 very doubtful with this situation. Okay, so this is why a short right now is not the best option. I would rather wait for the confirmation, as mentioned, right? Get that leg down pretty aggressively, right? Form a 5-wave structure, and then there will be some kind of a reaction bounce at some stage, right? No matter how aggressive this movement down is. That could be the confirmation that what we are seeing here is this, guys, okay? Where we mentioned this scenario yesterday, which is, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, contracting diagonal to finish your wave 3, your wave 4, zigzag, perfect, boom, 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 wave 5. And then, looking at what could happen here. And, with this information, it's a risky short. you know, let's leave it that way. It's just, for me, it's not worth the short just yet. And if this were to be the case, where we do have, you know, this being the impulsive move down, and this being your ABC correction, the movement down is going to take out the lows, right? This is just, it's pretty obvious that this would be the target zone, right? This is the target zone, because, you know, with this analysis, what we are looking for here is this to be either your wave A or your wave 1, right? Impulsive move, you've got big volume here in the middle, and this is going to be your wave 2, right, or your wave B, in a nutshell. You know, on the higher time frame, you got your leading move down, you got your zigzag move to the upside, and then obviously, you know, you want to be in this trade, right? Is it safe to get in right now? I'm going to say no. I don't like to get into this trade at the moment, realizing the bullish case. So I know where the target zone is. Your TP1 zone is the lows of the range. There's no doubt about it. If this were to be the correct analysis, which is the bearish one, right? And so your question right now, right, as an experienced trader or as a newbie trader, it doesn't matter. What is the best option to get into a short position here? How can I be confident in taking that short position? Well, it's basically explaining what I've just said, right? Scenario number 1, get the choppiness. Okay? Do not manage to get above this zone and actually trade in this zone for the next couple of hours, give or take 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. You want to see those highs, right, getting rejected, consolidating, reclaiming the highs. This is the moment where internal double tops, you know, can be a great option, just like yesterday here. Because literally what we're looking at is the end of an impulsive structure. And we got a corrective structure here, and we want to see the end of this, you know, potential impulsive move to the upside, which we got a big fat mess here, which eventually is not helping. And this mess gives you a few options, right? And the most bullish one eventually is that multiple 1-2 scenario, right? Where you got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. And you know, the price starts struggling here. As the price starts struggling, double, triple tops is the option, same as yesterday, same strategy here. But we need the price chopping, okay? And so it's a matter of being patient here. It's a matter of being patient. Okay, patient, it has to be the number 1 rule in trading, right? When you're looking at certain scenarios and certain setups, right? And in this case, for this short position, patience is very much required. You know, patience is required here. So we're not here to try and guess or try and see if this is going to be the bearish scenario. I do not know. What I do know, if the price gets exhausted here, I realize that this could be the end of this structure. And we have the bearish count here, which is, you know, this could be getting a big leg to the downside. And I want to be part of that leg to the downside. So, well, why don't you jump in? Well, just as explained, right? We need this exhaustion here. Very important. Okay, Andy, but what if the price does just roll down from here very aggressively, right? And we do get that, you know, massive movement down in a 5-wave structure. Well, eventually what we want to see is, you know, also remaining patient. Preferably we do get some kind of a bounce here, you know, to the 50%, 7/8 Fibonacci. And preferably, you know, that will be the zone of interest, you know, the zone of interest. But we need a very aggressive move down in a 5-wave structure. And then eventually, you know, if we start, you know, moving here to the upside, the 3-wave structure is going to be our option, because then, you know, I would expect, you know, a movement down to sweep up the lows. So, you know, we are interested in jumping in here in between 50% Fibonacci and 7/8 if we get this movement down, which is leading the way, right? This movement up leaded the way to the upside. This movement down did not lead the way down to the downside. The moment you start getting up here, you realize that the bulls have priority, could take out these highs because this is the leading move, right? You have this leading move, you have this three-wave structure. I mean, it did look a bit aggressive, but we got an epic bounce. Having this epic bounce already is not giving power to the bears. You're overlapping this pivot for your potential wave one. Oh, everything starts becoming a little bit bullish here in this zone. As we did get that nice bounce. And maybe you wanted to long the breakout of the trend, which was an option. Your stop loss is a little bit aggressive. It wasn't the best breakout trend here, just because, you know, you could long here, but your stop loss is an issue without a doubt. If you wanted to long the trend breakout, the channel breakout, you know, just put a stop loss above the last higher low, just accept it. And the highs is your TP1, right? So anyway, that's not the most beautiful zone here, purely based on stop loss. So yeah, I mean, these are the two options for the short, guys. Okay, these are the two options for the shorts. Price is getting that reaction here locally. Price is getting this reaction locally here in this zone. High volume at the end. Not interested yet here on the short here, guys. And I am very much aware of this being the finished structure, where you have your wave one, you know, potentially wave one, wave two, wave three right over here in this zone, your wave four and your wave five. Very, very, very possible that this could be the scenario here that we're looking at. Very, very possible. Muy posible, muy posible. You know, there will be a safer trade later on. I mean, if you wanted to try and attempt a small position, for me, it's not worth it just yet. Not worth it just yet. The moment you break down here, as mentioned, in a five-wave structure, it's kind of SFP, and it wants to create that swing failure pattern from this high that we created yesterday, right? It's been a liquidity grab, literally. But the moment this price does get that bang, right? Bang, right? And it starts banging down here with lower highs, you know, preferably we are going to get some kind of a bounce here. And this can be a little bit of a confusing price action, right? Because it might be a corrective structure. So it's super important that we do see a clear impulsive move to the downside in this case, to be confident that we are going to be, you know, this is the bearish case could be in play, right? ABC. Yeah, we're going to have to get a little bit of information here on the movement down. And you know, people will probably can get confused here. We do have the bullish case as well, which is this one right over here. Okay. Oh, I'm getting lots of numbers here and lots of stuff. Let me just get this out of the way. We do have the bullish case scenario, okay, for all of those bulls out there. Which, and this is where the people can get a little bit confused. Where you say that we do reject from this point and we move down like this, right? And then, you know, clearly you formed a three-wave structure, and then some people that don't have the you know, the knowledge and haven't followed up with the analysis might think that this bounce is a good short position. But you know, if you do move down in a three-wave structure, like you've moved in a three-wave structure here, you know, if you're trying to short somewhere in this zone, just as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, you know, this is no zone to short. This is no zone to short. I'm aware of a pullback, but this is no zone to short. And why is it no zone to short? Because of this. You know, it's because of this zone over here. You got a clear move, leading move to the upside, and you got a clear corrective structure, and this correction over here, it confirms that it is very likely a correction when you start getting the price action above the last lower high, right? Then like, yeah, this is not a leading move. So anybody that wanted to get into a short just at the beginning of the stream in this area, as mentioned, it was just not an option. It's just not an option. And if it's not an option, then there's no short, right? So this is if we do get that rejection, guys, it has to be extremely clear that it is going to be a 5-wave move down, right? And a very, very 3-wave kind of dancing correction here to the 50% to the 7-8 zone, right? Where we do expect that rollover. And we need that move to be confident on this bounce. Stop loss above the high eventually, entry zone, and we are targeting the lows, right? We are looking for a 3-4 to 1 risk reward in this kind of setup. But we need this move, right? We need that 5 leading move to the downside, just as we had this 5 leading move to the upside yesterday, and very much aware of the next leg to the upside yesterday, right? I mean, maybe this is the exact drawing that is going to be playing out from yesterday's stream, right? We don't know for the moment. And, I did talk about the shorting zone here at the naked point of control. I just don't like the new information that we have today, right? This is why it's important to have the follow through on the new price action, right? Which I don't like increasing volume if you're going to have a wave 5. So let's just get this out of the way and talk about the bearish case. I do not want to see increasing volume on your wave 5. If this is going to be a wave 5, most commonly on your wave 5, you have decreasing volume. You have your wave 3 and wave 5, you have decreasing volume as you get the pattern, as you get the wave evolving, right? When you have increased volume on your potential wave 5, you need to start thinking, usually you don't have increased volume on your wave 5. Usually it's on a wave 3. So that's when the alarms go on and say, hang on a minute, this could be still the wave 3 getting development. And, instead of looking at this, what we're looking at here is a multiple 1-2, right? Which is you forming a third wave. You formed the third wave here, shallow pullback 4 and 5, right? You start getting the choppiness in this zone. This is why if we do chop and we fail to break out the local highs, I would give it a first attempt, okay? If we move up to the local highs on the local time frame now that we have had this pullback, I think it starts to make sense to start looking for a double top scenario. Very much aware of it is quite shallow for a wave 3 here, I have to be honest, but it might be maybe just like that. Yeah, and looking at this as your first wave 1, your wave 2, another wave 1, another wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5, 4 and 5, right? It's going to be very, very interesting here, guys. This is the zone that I'm starting to be interested in local double tops. I'm going to be defensive with the first movement down, stop loss to close to break even on the rejection. If we do get that leg up to the upside, I will be interested in getting into another triple top. So yeah, having this wave 5 with a high volume, it could be an expanding wave 5. And expanding wave 5s are the ones that have the highest amount of volume. Well, this wave 3, yeah, we have an issue here because the wave 3 is shorter than this wave to the upside. Yeah, we have an issue here. This cannot be an expanding wave 5. So very, very choppy price action, I have to say. Yeah. double top scenario is just going to be the option for me here. Or get the breakdown and look for the bounce. That's going to be the best option here to get into the short position for me right now. So yeah, that's a little bit of the analysis. Of course, there's many different options. Okay, there's many different options. This is like this would be my preferred scenario. Okay, I have to say this one does look a little bit more interesting. This does look very interesting in my opinion, because the other bearish case was this one, but eventually there's some other options here. Okay, let's talk about some other options, because maybe we're gonna range for the next 1 to 2 days. All right, it's not going to be that easy. You know, we have this running flat idea, this expanding flat idea from yesterday, regular flat actually. It didn't expand to the 1.618. We have this flat idea yesterday, which, if this is the leading move down, I mean, obviously this is taking a long time. If this is going to be part of a corrective move, you've got a flat structure here. You might form another flat in this zone, and then you form a triangle, right? We're talking about WXY complex corrective structures, but we ain't going to go too much into detail on this scenario, because if we continue ranging in the next coming days, then we'll start talking about the possibility of the different options here. But regardless, it is already been twice as long as this movement to the downside, right? If this were to be an A wave, right, a W, right, in a flat, and then we're just continuing here the very complex correction in you know, WXY kind of structure to then get the rollover. We are extending in time quite a bit here. I mean, there would still be time between today and tomorrow for this to still be rangy. If we do continue rangy here, guys, this will have a higher probability that we are going to actually get down, okay? If we continue ranging here throughout today and tomorrow, and we start dancing around here with the waves, we'll analyze that structure tomorrow. I'll be analyzing this with the legends, of course, giving the different options in the community on Discord. But it's too early to start speculating on, you know, the price could do this and then do that and then do this. And it's like, yes, there's too many waves here to take into consideration. And we just need to lean with this one, which is more simple at the moment, right? Get the choppiness at this zone that could complete that, you know, bearish structure. Choppy, and you know, local double tops become a good option, just because the risk management is awesome on the double triple tops, right? If you entered a short here, stop loss at the high, you know, the risk management is extremely good for that setup. So if we just start ranging here, the double triple tops become that option here. And the bullish case is yeah, you are developing the third wave at the moment, okay? There is a bullish case that eventually gets your explosive third wave, which could be on the formation. If you correct down here, there's a few options. Eventually you have your multiple 1-2 setup, and you're still developing your third wave. This is just going to absolutely rocket. There's too many options, I know, guys, but there is a valid bearish case, there is a valid bullish case. You're just waiting for the best moment to get into a trade, which is sometimes you just need to be a little bit patient. For the bearish case, as mentioned, for me it's simple. You know, if we start dancing around in this zone, for me it's going to be the short. I'm going to be interested in local double tops to try and get into the rejection. It's, you know, I know the plan for this. If we start dancing around at this zone. But we need to dance around. I need a little bit of dancing. Like yesterday, we were dancing in this zone. So yeah, that's what I want to see here. If we don't get that, then we were to get the rejection, I need that 5-wave structure. The bounce is going to be looking very interesting. Would be interested in the short. Your invalidation is the high. You're literally looking for the lows to be taken, but we need this structure over here. On the bullish side, the price just continues moving to the upside. We're developing a wave 3. If the price really, you know, if this is a corrective structure, we do have the wave 1, we do have the wave 2, 3-wave structure. We might be developing the wave 3. Especially if we start breaking out through the naked point of control, the 7/8 Fibonacci, maybe it is possible. We're going to talk about the other scenario, which is interesting, which is a flat, okay? Which is an ABC flat. And an ABC flat is possible, okay? An ABC flat is possible because you have a 3-wave structure to the downside here. And you could be forming a 3-wave move to the upside here. Take out all-time highs. And I have to give definitely an option here for the short. Okay. If the price were to continue to the upside, hear me out here, because it's another setup. Instead of forming the choppiness, hang on a minute, guys. Let me just put that trend line here. That horizontal line, sorry. Instead of forming that choppiness here, as we've grinded to the upside here with multiple 1-2s, and we get that extension here, we just break out, for example, and then we start, you know, the choppiness here. That will be the moment that I would say, okay, well, your third wave has stretched its legs. You know, you're forming a few 4-5s at all-time high here. And that will be the conclusion of an ABC here to form your larger ABC flat, right? You're looking for the lows to be taken potentially. So if we start getting that choppiness in this range, if we extend those legs, then, you know, that's the other option where I would be interested in a short position here. Of course, usually when you hit some highs, the most obvious thing here is to get a proper swing failure pattern, right? That's what usually happens if you have an if you have a high, in this case all-time high. What is more obvious is just that wick liquidity grab, and then, you know, really start moving down very aggressively. I wouldn't be too interested, if I'm honest with you here, in a swing failure pattern very, very quick. I would be interested in the shorts, but I would be a little bit careful on just jumping on the swing failure pattern, just realizing that you got, you know, this could be multiple 1-2s, you get your 3, 4, 5, you know, and then you start grinding here to the upside, just a lot of choppiness. If you get that choppiness here, a few attempts and breaking out, then, you know, I would be very, very interested. And that's looking at a larger ABC flat scenario here, right? You know, this would be the kind of the other option for a larger ABC flat. Yeah, I mean, lots of scenarios. Oh, we're getting that movement down here. We're getting the movement down. This is the moment that we do want to see if the price does move down impulsively. And I'll go through the comment section, guys. Okay, I wish I had a quick trading setup. Maybe some of you guys entered aggressively in a short position. I didn't get into this short. I didn't get into this short position. I will jump in later on if I do get that information, right, which is moving down pretty impulsively, to take into consideration this bearish case, right? So yeah, there will be time, there will be confirmation with that movement, and the target zone would be the lows at below $106,000. You know, let me know the opinion in the comment section, because so many scenarios here that could be developed. You know, this could also be a corrective structure that is happening right now in the next coming hours, and you get the drop down, boom, 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 but then you have a 3-wave move down just like yesterday, right? And then it's like, whoop, this could actually be your first wave 1 from your wave 3 when we're considering the bullish case, right? So, you know, this would be the kind of the other option where I would be interested in a short position here. I We need that information that the moment that this will be bullish is when this price action overlaps this wave right over here, right? That's going to be the moment of interest. I would be happy to jump into a long position here and put stop loss at the low and just really, you know, maybe look at least all-time highs, new all-time highs, regardless if it breaks out or not. But it's going to be, you know, new information on the chart always tells you the different probabilities, right? So this will be an interesting zone. This would be an interesting zone if we do get either a 5-wave move down or a 3-wave move down, right? Just keeping it simple with Elliott wave theory, which is eventually giving you that priority on the probability of the next movement, right? So yeah, let's go through the comment section, guys, a little bit. I think there's a little bit of over information on the local price action. There's just so many different options, but we want to get into the best option, right? Yesterday was a little bit more clear on the analysis and the local setups, regardless if you were interested in the short or interested in the long. I mean, this long was very aggressive. Eventually you got the movement down, being very wicky. We did have a naked point of control, right, between the golden pocket and the 7/8 Fibonacci from this pivot low to the high. A bit aggressive if you want to catch a falling knife, but it was, you know, this area was the option of, you know, based on yesterday's analysis. Maybe this is exactly what's going to happen, guys. You know, we'll have to get this drawing throughout the next couple of days and say, you know what, actually this is what happened, right? This is the, you know, how the price developed. Anyway, let's go through the comment section and hope you enjoyed the analysis, guys. Okay, we're gonna have to, you know, not an easy short for me here, just understanding that, you know, the momentum is up, you're not getting choppiness, understanding the bullish case. Bulls that definitely have, you know, a chance here. The bulls definitely have a chance. So there's no easy trade in this zone for the moment for me, right? Let's just keep it that way. There's no easy intraday setup for me at the moment, which I'm happy to say, you know, happy to hold on some of the long position, not ready for the short position just yet. Okay, and happy to hold still some of that long position to see if we, you know, maybe we go to all-time high, maybe, you know, maybe I get stopped out, but overall not ready for the short position just yet till we get that new information, right? Either drop down or choppiness here at this zone. Legends, if you are interested in trading, Bluffin right now has a 15% deposit bonus. Okay, 15% trading deposit bonus. All right, you will get that in 3 days, maximum $5,000 of bonus. That will increase your capital to have more capital. Okay, you do get a fee discount as well when you sign up with the link down below. Weeks is a great alternative. 2 great options. You just need an email and a password. You got some great perks and bonuses here on Weeks as well. It is the first and second link down below in the description, guys. Another way to support the channel, another way for you to get into these massive bonuses on these exchanges that do require only an email and a password, and you get all of those perks, guys, as you can see. So let's go through the comment section. Let me know if you are bearish, if you are bullish. Do you see the bearish case scenario happening, right? Bearish case scenario would be at least sweeping up the lows here at 106,500, which is this bearish case right over here, scenario that we were talking about throughout yesterday, right? Literally, you know, with the possibilities here, looking at the different ways on how the price action could develop. We barely just front run that naked point of control. And if the bears want to take lead here, if the bears want to take lead on this scenario, it really should reject from this zone, the 7/8 Fibonacci zone maximum, which was also front runned, because the moment you really start getting close to all-time high, then you really decrease on probabilities, right, on this being bearish, right? You know, this would be decrease. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't get up to close to an all-time high, but you know, preferably the 7-8 zone is where it does get the rejection. If this were to play out, and you know, on the higher time frame, because this is the last few days analysis, we are kind of targeting the lows here, right? We are kind of targeting the lows. So still a little bit of information. We need to waiting patiently here for this breakdown. Or this hourly candle, which is going to be closed in 2 minutes, it does not look good. Big rejection. We've got 2 minutes to close this candle, and it's a nice rejection here. I'm kind of really tempted. For me, it's a little bit late right now to get into the short, unless you got onto the swing failure pattern. But yeah, I definitely need to hedge that long position a little bit here. So, you know, small position could definitely be an option, at least for me anyway, depending on your trading style, guys, and what you're doing with your money. But I've taken most of the profits from that long, but still have, you know, quite a few $1,000s of profit, and it would make sense for me to hedge it, just understanding the bearish case here locally. Understanding this bearish case. So I will jump into the short even later on with maybe some more, you know, more capital. If we do get that confirmation breakdown here in a 5-wave structure, right? If we do move aggressively in the next coming hours, there will be a bounce, guys, right? This will be your initial first wave of the bigger wave, right? This will be your first wave, right? And your first waves give you great options, regardless if it's going to, you know, a wave 2, right? Because you want to be part of this wave down. You want to be part of the wave that is aggressive, which, you know, would make sense that this is not going to happen. You know, you unlikely that you move down very aggressively like this, right? And you start getting to $105,000, $104,000, right? You're going to get the first major leg to the downside, which is going to give your kind of confirmation. And when you get this confirmation, the next bounce is where you want to take part of the possible, you know, leg to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to remain a little bit patient here. Overall, the bullish case is still possible. Still very much possible. Bullish case is still very much possible. This has been a 3-wave structure. The ABC flat scenario is also an option, okay, where you have an ABC. That's something that we want to be aware, because you have a 3-wave move here. This could be a 3-wave move up, and then you come down very aggressively to get below $105,000. It ends up in a double top scenario, essentially. So yeah, I just need more information. You know, I did provide how I'm looking at the setups. Okay, so all you need that information for the next coming hours if you are going to be looking at the charts later on. Okay, and that's literally what I am looking at here to take the step here on this short. I mean, if we were to move down aggressively, you know, I would just say I missed the short, guys. You know, it's just all of, you know, you need to miss some short positions or long positions if it's not clear. I really want to get into a clear setup where I know that the probabilities are leaning on my side. And for the moment, you're just very much aware of the bullish case here still, right? Still very much aware of the bullish case, which is multiple 1-2s. You're developing the third wave in the next coming hours, okay? So yeah, I wouldn't label this right now as your wave 3 with a high volume, just because you know, it hasn't been much of a wave 3. There has been high volume on the lower time frames. Let's take a look at the 1 minute time frame, right? Oof. This does look like, on the lower time frame, I mean, going to the 1 minute is going a bit aggressive. Yeah, this would have to be an expanding move, but We know that expanding moves or a multiple 1-2 setup on the formation here on the 1 minute time frame, but it's looking very 5 wavy for the moment. Yeah, not too interested in the 1 minute time frame, if I'm honest with you here. Not too interested. So that's a little bit of the information that we need here, guys. I wish I had a nice setup that could happen in the next hour or two. But, you know, trading is all about, you know, waiting for the highest probability setup, right? And sometimes that's, you know, part of the game. You just need to wait for the highest probability setup, right? And based on the information that I've given you on the stream today, that's what we need to see, right? And this, I wouldn't be too confident at the moment here with this choppiness. I don't see this as a wave 3, you know, wave 4, wave 4s and 5s. It could be the case. I mean, still, if we do get that choppiness at the naked point of control here and the 7-8, then it could be interesting for that short without a doubt. So if we do get that choppiness, I would be looking for the local double tops in this area for the bearish case, which is literally this one. And if not, we just wait for the confirmation breakdown, guys, because if this is going to be a large movement down, regardless in an A, B, C, right, or a 1, 2, 3, right, eventually if it's going to be a third wave, we are going to be looking for a much aggressive drop down. It doesn't matter. We can get into this trade later on. You know, it doesn't matter catching the high or not here. Maybe some of you guys want to get into a small position, you know, and just understand the bearish scenario. But I would say, you know, it's much better, because if we are going to be developing this wave here, if the price ends up being bearish and we are going to develop this wave C or this wave 3, inside of this larger wave, you know, we are going to be seeing this, you know, some kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We are going to be seeing something like this being developed. So we need that first leg down, right? You are going to see 5 waves inside of this C wave or third wave. It doesn't matter. But getting the first confirmation leg down will give you much better options. And I need to give a good note here on, it's important that this leg to the downside is a clear 5 wave movement to the downside on the 15-minute time frame, right? So yeah, let's see if that does come to fruition, right, in the next coming hours. Because the drop can be really, really nice, guys. We do not know if this is the proper count that we were speculating on yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of already worth it based on the drawing from yesterday, right? It's kind of worth it already, you know, start looking for shorts in this zone. But I'm going to wait for the first confirmation leg down, guys. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's all good. You know, nobody, you know, you don't have to be the trader that I catch the bottom. I literally catch the bottom here, but just because I was aware of this scenario, which is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or either looking for, you know, all of the different options that I had yesterday was, yeah, literally double zigzag. You know, I really, really like this low. Sometimes it's easier to catch the low and understanding what could happen here. You know, when I was doing the analysis on Sunday, you know, it was either this with an ABC flat, it was either this, you know, could be forming, and you realize that all of your analysis does provide a high probability bounce in this zone. That was the main reason that I jumped here into the long position. I was looking for double, triple bottoms in this zone. So yeah, like I said, if this is going to be the moment that the price does correct down, and this is the correct analysis, the way we do not know how powerful this wave can be. This wave to the downside could, you know, literally go to 105 and it can go to 100K. We don't know how powerful it is going to be. And the power usually comes in your third waves. The power comes in your third waves. So the most interesting wave to get into is not, in this case, just considering the bullish case as mentioned, right? It's not catching the top in this scenario. You know, the best short here is not catching the top. We are uptrending. We are in a bull market. So there's also something to take into consideration, right? The most important wave, if we are going to get a larger correction, is not catching the top of the C wave or the third wave. It is actually getting, you know, close to the beginning once you get the confirmation, because the power comes in this third wave. You want to be in this wave right over here. This is the wave that I want to be in. I don't want to try and catch the high in this scenario, understanding the bullish case. But if we are going to be bearish, this is the wave that I want to be in. At least to sweep up below $106,000, right? Regardless if it breaks down with power to 104, 103, I don't know, right? But I need the first confirmation movement down, right? I need the first aggressive move down in a 5-wave structure. And, you know, if we are going to move down in the end, you know, to below 106, 105, you know, we will point this out on the stream, right? If we are going to be moving down here in a ABC, we will point out this analysis, right? Because, you know, you are going to get that first initial leg to the downside and a bounce, some kind of a bounce before you get the big breakdown, which is your third wave. So, you know, this is good because this is literally how the price action moves, right? This is how the price action moves. It moves in these, you know, in this Elliott wave theory. But for the moment, we just understand the bulls, right? I understand the bulls. I understand that we could continue to higher levels, okay? So it's not the greatest option at the moment, considering that we are in a massive bull market here, guys, okay? That's something that we need to understand, that trading here, you know, trying to predict the top on a possible ABC, trying to predict the top, you really need a lot of confirmation here. You need a lot of confirmation, regardless if it's choppiness, right? You get that choppiness here in your possible 4-5s. You get your first initial breakdown and then the bounce. That's where you want to be part of the possible movement to the downside here, understanding the bearish case. When you're in a bull market and the trend is very much bullish, you know, as a day trader, I'm eventually looking for longs and shorts. And I'm interested in this short, but we need confirmation. So, yeah, I mean, you need to understand the overall trend. You need to understand the different options, the possibilities of the continuation of the trend, and speculating on a lower high, right? If you tried to speculate on a lower high, that we were very much against that scenario, you know, since all of this uptrend, right? We've been bullish on all of these ranges to take out the highs, very, very likely just because they were very corrective. But if you tried to get into a short position on every attempt of a lower high, I mean, this would have been okay. We did actually talk about a short here, but it was at the specific level here, 7-8 value area high. It was an okay day trade short. But if you tried to on every, get into a lower high in an uptrend every single time, if you do not know what you're doing and you're managing risk and you know exactly where you're entering, right? You're going to get burnt more times, right? It's a dangerous, where the price is bullish, we're in a bull market. So yeah, we know that the option of a lower high here could be possible. It's just kind of dangerous to say, yeah, I'm going to try and catch the high, right? Trend is bullish, extremely bullish. We do have some signs that we could see this bearish momentum happening. you know, at least to sweep up the lows. We're starting to get those options. You know, the overall question is, when do I get into the short? When do I successfully get into the short, right? And for me, it's not now, right? For me, it's not now just yet. I realize the different options, and what we need to see is that choppiness, double, triple tops here at the naked point of control, or that first initial breakdown. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter catching the high, guys. It doesn't really matter. So if you want to be, you know, the cowboy of the Wild West and say, I don't care, I'm ready, you know, my stop loss, I'm going to take it as a swing trade. I'm shorting in this zone. I don't give a damn. I'm risking still 1 to 3%. My stop loss is all-time high. I think that we're going to take out the lows. And there's a large percentage in the comment section. I'm happy just to short in this range. Regardless, you know, my invalidation is going to be all-time high. I believe that this analysis is going to be the one, right? And it's going to come down regardless in that A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3. We go to lower levels, right? And I'm happy to jump into the short here. I'm more of a swing trader. I don't give a damn, right? To see confirmations on the lower time frame. I'm just going to enter the short zone in this area, right? I'm happy to short in this zone. I'm happy to put a stop loss here, and I'm happy to, you know, take profits starting from moving to the downside here, which would still be a 2.5 risk to reward, 2.5 to 1 risk to reward kind of thing. As I do have time, I will be looking at other confirmations. Okay. Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Let's see that like button absolutely exploding. Let's go. Over 700 people watching the stream. Thank you guys for joining here. I hope you did enjoy the analysis. Let me know if you did. Long, short throughout the last few days. Maybe you longed, maybe you shorted, and you longed based on the Picasso drawings from yesterday. This is one of the scenarios that we were talking about yesterday. Short day trade. Not an easy long here. This is a pretty interesting wick down that we had. But, this is where it's becoming interesting, right? Holy moly, could we be forming this wave in the next coming days, right? I'll have to pull out this stream if this were to come to fruition, right? And we do actually break down below 105k, because this would be the exact Picasso drawing that has happened, right? Anyway, let's go through comment section now. Yes, first of all, let's get above 300 likes. I'm going to take a hike, and then when I come back, I know that we're going to be at 400 likes. It's time for comment section. We can take a look at a bit of news later on, guys. This is a crypto channel. We can take a look. It's mainly Bitcoin trading channel, but we can take a look at some altcoins. We can take a look at a bit of news that is going on also. I want to see that like button absolutely flying. Let's go, guys. Like button is flying. Like button is flying. Not as I wanted. Is it giveaway time, guys? Come on. How many likes for a giveaway? Let's keep it at 700. With 700 viewers, if we get to 700 likes, we are giving away $500 in the comment section live today. All right? Let's go. Yeah, we need to give some money, guys, for you to smash up the like button. I need to pay you. $500 giveaway, US dollar tether, ERC network. Let's go. And now it's time for comment section. 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍𝗽, my man, moderator, giving love and power here. Much love to you, brother. Let's go and continue through the comment section. What's going on, guys? Lots of comments piling in. Let's go. Yes, ADA US dollar. We can take a look at some altcoins. Smash the like button. Let's go. We're getting that like button, guys, to 700, right? If you want to be a potential winner, you know, you have a high chance here, right? More than the lottery. There's probably 50 people commenting here. So out of 50 people, right, maybe you could be a winner of $500 just for you. Splash, bang, send it to you right away. But I need the like button, okay? I need that like to go to 700. Trump will crash before the buys, before he buys it at discount. Yeah, very, very, very possible. I mean, the bearish case scenario looks very good, right? Bearish case scenario would be very nice indeed. I'm not sure what NASDAQ is doing. It is pumping a little bit. It is trying to pump here throughout the last couple of hours. stretching its legs, nothing too serious. But the bearish case scenario looks very good. What's going on with 𝗖𝗍𝗄𝗍? 𝗖𝗍𝗍 is very interesting. I know a lot of people are invested in 𝗖𝗍𝗍. We got 𝗬𝗍𝗆, one of the coaches in the Legends trading community, has a big bag of 𝗖𝗍𝗍. He does have 𝗖𝗍𝗍. I have zero 𝗖𝗍𝗍, guys. I don't have any 𝗖𝗍𝗍 at all. I got some other altcoins such as Chainlink. Chainlink is my big bag. Thanks for the technical analysis, Andy. Very appreciated. TWA, much love to you, my man. I do my best. We do try and kind of, figure out the different movements of the price action, right? I do try, guys. I'm not always right. Of course, we talk about, you always need to consider bullish and bearish case scenarios. Where do we see the best probability trading setups, confirmations, right? We like confirmations on the chart. And, a pretty clear confirmation here would be getting a first aggressive move down, right? And then the bounce. Hopefully we do get some kind of a nice slow bounce, right? That will be very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. But we need that first initial movement to the downside. Maybe some of you will just say, I believe in your analysis, Andy. I believe that this setup that you talked about throughout yesterday, I believe that this could be it, right? And maybe now is where we are already topping out, getting above the A wave, we're moving below the A wave. Is this it, guys? Is this it? Let me know in the comment section. And that's pretty bold, right? You're like, we're in a bull market, you idiot. How can you be talking about the price moving down? Bloody idiot, right? Man. This guy, we're in a bull market and he's talking about movements to the downside, right? Well, it's just part of a potential correction that could be extended, guys, right? Maybe a correction, right? And it might be even a pretty aggressive move down in a wave 3, right? We're hoping it might be an ABC. We don't know how aggressive this movement can develop, right? Anyway, let's go right away. Continue through the comment section. We can take a look at 𝗖𝗍𝗍. Appreciate you. Tolly Mano, much love to you, my man. I hope everybody is really learning lots with the analysis and see, especially when we go through the streams, right? And say, the price actually moved kind of similar to what we talked about, at least one of the options. And I hope that you actually really absorb the knowledge that I'm just providing here. And actually seeing proof of the analysis, right? Saying, hey, this kind of, sometimes, not always, guys, I have to say, sometimes my analysis is rubbish. I wouldn't say rubbish, but it doesn't play out as the movement that we give a little bit more love, right? As a higher probability movement. But I hope that as you do realize, for example, yesterday we did take out the highs. We did move down in a 3-wave structure. And now we got this leg to the upside, right? So it's kind of based on the information that we have on the price action that we rejected from all-time high. Based on this information, I do know how the price could develop. And I know where the trading setups could lie, right? Yesterday was the double top here locally. It's only an intraday setup, right? And this is where a lot of people could get a little bit trapped. They don't know how to manage their trades because I hardly made any profit on this short position. But it could have made loads of profit. It all depends on how much money you have, how much you're risking, right? And maybe lots of people shorted this and took, with a movement down of $1,500, they got in 100x leverage. They did put 2 to 3% of their account and they locked in all of the profits down here on the movement down. Maybe some of you stopped out at break even. Maybe, it's the analysis is one thing, trading is another thing. And as mentioned, I didn't make hardly any profits from this, for my size anyway. The profits were okay. We're just it's another trade. I could have scratched more profits, yes, but I didn't make that much money on this movement down when we were talking about this yesterday. So it really depends, right? Analysis and trading is a complete different thing. With the analysis, we can know where the entries are, and then it's your responsibility to take action on how you getting into these trades, right? Man, anyway, let's go through the comment section. Israel, Andy el mejor. far away. I will never say that I am the best or that my community is the best, guys. I will never say that. Never, ever. You will never say, you know, I am the best or my community is the best. It's just a very, I will let the people, you know, have their opinion on that. Okay, I want to be the best, but saying that I'm the best, me personally, I love seeing some people saying that. That's awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of very, very good analysts and traders out there. 1 like equal 1 high five for Andy, says 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍. Much love to you, brother. Sheriff, I made $70 into 3.1K and back to 2.1K today. Very nice. You know, yeah. I really like your analysis. I will keep an eye on it for the long term, says 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's all an opinion, right? At the end of the day, it's all a point of view. Never seen you make a decision, Andy. Never seen you make a decision. Well, enter a trade, you mean, right? Enter a trade live? Well, just because I like to take a look at the highest probability trading setups, right? And I need good information for that high probability trading setup. Would I have said, you know, this could be the high? Yeah, I don't like it, but you will see me in a trade if the price moves down like this and we get the bounce, okay? And you will see me in a trade somewhere in this zone if we do get this movement down in the next coming days. You will see me in that trade. Don't worry about that. Okay? So it's all about, you know, the information that we have and having the best trading, you know, opportunities. I was in this trade yesterday. We did not take the highs throughout the stream. Just an hour later of the stream, right? I was not streaming, so you ain't gonna see me take that trade because I'm not streaming. But hey, come on, you know, you had the setup mentioned yesterday. You know, do you want me to go live when to take the trade after being live for 2 hours? You know, it's all about waiting for the best opportunity. And you know, hey, this is what can I say, right? Sometimes if we do get that clear scenario, I would have taken this trade yesterday, as mentioned, if we would have double topped on the stream, entering the trade, right, locally here. But this double top happened after the stream. So what can I say? You know, it's it all depends on the opportunity. If it does happen on stream and we have the perfect planets aligning, in this case it was an hour later, then I will get into the trade setup if it happens on stream. So anyway, let's go right away. I only watch you and one other good YouTuber. Don't want to call name. Don't know if I'm allowed. Suzanne. Yeah, you can. It's okay. I have no hate on anybody. I love everybody. You know, even though I might think his analysis is not that great, or maybe it is. It's okay. You can put names here in the comment section. I have no hate. I only have love to give to everybody here. I hope, Andy, you have live tomorrow. Yes, we're going to do a live stream tomorrow. Tomorrow we do have some news. It is the FOMC minutes. It's at 10 p.m. UAE time, so it's going to be a little bit late for me. I might go at New York Open. But yeah, I might do a live stream here. You know, this is FOMC minutes can bring some volatility. You know, maybe some people are interested in, you know, seeing some crypto TA traders on YouTube, and I might join in. Okay, maybe tomorrow 10 p.m. UAE time, which is 4 hours from now. Okay, so it might be a late live stream. I might post a video update tomorrow morning, depending on what price action. See if we are developing, you know, this kind of movement, we'll have to see. Or maybe the bullish case, which was this one, right? Right, it all depends on this movement down that we get right now, okay, which is moving down. So this is definitely an option, you know, the bearish case here. Bullish case is not invalidated. There's no invalidation for this bullish case. So we want to be aware that if we do move down correctively, right, and we start moving up here, then this can be bullish. This can be bullish. So just be aware of the movement down, if it is going to be leading or if it's going to be corrective. Let's go continue through the comment section here. Andy, can you share your thoughts on virtual protocol? Yeah, I mean, we can get virtual protocol, virtual US dollar. I want to take a look at 𝗬cie as well. 𝗬cie looks, virtual protocol is doing pretty damn good. Pretty damn good, virtual protocol. It's just really, really grinding here to the upside. Very, very wedgy kind of price action here, I have to say. Whew. I would not be bullish all the way up here, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, I haven't got the volume here, but this is the moment you want to be a little bit aware. Yeah, this is just really grinding to the upside, but I would not be bullish here. That is for sure. Is it a good short position? Altcoins, you know, I'm not a huge fan of trading altcoins. Not a huge fan of trading altcoins here. Yeah, just really not going to be talking about any setups here on altcoins, if I'm honest with you. On virtuals. 𝗬cie looks interesting. I like 𝗬cie. Virtual protocol, we know it's been the leading one here with AI agents, right? We saw the massive rally here in 2024. Absolutely insane rally. Big dump, nice bottom formation. I would say that this is a dangerous moment because this could be your first initial leg to the upside. You know, you're going to start correcting down here before getting the altcoin season. I would label this as your first initial pump. Okay, I would label this as your first initial pump. This could be multiple 4-5s on the formation. You got your 1-2 here, 1-2, right? 3, 4, 5s. This is classic to get a corrective move at some stage. And then this might be the zone where then you get your wave 3, right? We head up through altcoin season, right? We start getting the rally. Virtual protocol seems like one of those projects that is going to be, you know, as it's in AI agent, right? That's the hot niche that there is right now. AI agents and virtual protocol is, you know, one of the leading projects eventually. 𝗬cie looks very interesting. Okay, if we take a look at 𝗬cie on the price action, I don't know why I've got these box, but 𝗬cie does look like that it could be forming a larger correction. 𝗬cie looks very bullish. 𝗬cie does look very bullish just because the way that we moved up here to the upside is incredibly 5-wavy. Okay, you have a clear impulse to the upside, and this is kind of confirming that we will see an altcoin season, right? 𝗬cie being one of the hot projects, right, of this bull market. This initial wave that we have from this steep correction that we had from the beginning of the year, right, in January, which was pretty devastating, right, for a lot of people, especially the people that joined in late throughout November, December. This is kind of a very, very good confirmation pump that we have on 𝗬cie, okay, which eventually would give us the high probability. If you do hold 𝗬cie from lower, I would say that, you know, 𝗬cie is gonna hit all-time high in the coming months. 𝗬cie, you know, eventually very bullish structure, very bullish initial wave to the upside here. Obviously with this leading move up and this movement down after getting this movement to the upside, it's just very, 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 very strong. Okay, very, very strong. I would say that, yeah, I think this is going to correct a little bit more in the next coming weeks, just because you have a finished strong impulsive move throughout April, part of May. And, you know, I would be seeing this as this is probably going to be correcting, maybe get a bounce, maybe correct to lower levels, especially considering a larger pullback on Bitcoin. Well, it eventually will drag some altcoins to the downside. Okay, so at least coming down to the 50% Fibonacci would be the option here for 𝗬cie, at least to sweep up these lows, which is labeled as your wave 4, and in a corrective structure after an impulse. It is very, very common, it doesn't always happen, but it's very, very common to at least retrace to your fourth wave, okay, right over here at a bare minimum. So this is the zone that it will start be looking interesting to either look for swing long positions or look for buying more 𝗬cie. This would be the moment of interest when we take, considering 𝗬cie here, right? When we do take a look at the just basic Elliott wave theory, right? It is very, very common to retrace to your wave 4. Okay, it's very, very common for that C wave to sweep up the fourth wave. And when we analyze here the 𝗬cie price action, then eventually, you would expect 50% Fibonacci retracement from the pump, which is below the fourth wave at a bare minimum, right? And then start analyzing here the structure. Let's go. That's an overview here, just keeping it simple. I think a larger pullback could happen for 𝗬cie. And Bitcoin's getting a big rejection here at the moment. Big rejection, starting to look very interesting. Muy interesante. Muy interesante. Ooh, this is looking good. Looking good for the bears. Whoever shorted from higher, is in an interesting position at the moment. But it's not all confirmation just yet. So what I would want to see here with this leading move down, potential leading move down, I like it. What I do not want to see is the price getting back above the last lower high. This would be a bullish move, meaning that, we could be looking then for higher levels, okay? So this could end up in a 3-wave corrective structure. Been a little bit aggressive. If you do channel here without overlapping this pivot low, this is the moment of confirmation. See if it is going to confirm it. If you do overlap this pivot low, then it decreases, it starts decreasing the probabilities, right? You're not looking at a wave 4. Best case scenario is you're looking at a double 1-2. But if you do chop here in the next, coming 30 minutes, 1 hour, then you get another leg down, then you probably have the 5-wave structure here. That's the moment, guys, as we've been talking about throughout the stream. Consolidation, another leg down, we will have a confirmed 5-wave move to the downside if we do not overlap this pivot low. Okay? It's getting a nice little bounce at the moment. So preferably we do not overlap that pivot. We claim the lows again. We have it, right? We have the possible confirmed impulsive move to the downside. And then the bounce is where it's going to be looking extremely interesting for me to jump into the short position. But we need one more leg to the downside. This could be a 3-wave structure. If you start getting above, if you bounce right now aggressively to this area, then what we're looking at here is possibly the bullish case scenario, legends, okay? If now the price does bounce from here to this zone, right, it just kind of V-shapes, then that will be a confirmation that what we're looking at here is that we're probably going to get continuation to the upside. Only if the price gets to this zone, just because you're invalidating this to be an impulse, right? So ideally for the bears, we get a consolidation here without overlapping that pivot. As mentioned, we get one more leg to the downside, and then the 3-wave structure is gonna be the golden ticket for me, right? The ticket of, okay, I want to get in because I do know that the price could move to lower levels. Stop loss at the high literally here, and I would be aiming for the lows of the range. So we're getting that information as we go. If we do get that movement to this green box, and this is looking at the 3-minute time frame, legends, right? If we do get that movement to this green box in this V shape without taking out the low, this is going to be looking very bullish. And this explanation is the same as this movement, where you have a 3-wave structure. You start getting above the lower highs here. This bounce is becoming too big, right? And gives a high probability that you're going to take out the highs here. So as you had this 3-wave structure and you did not consolidate here and took out the low again to complete a 5-wave structure, this ended up being a correction and taking out the highs. So this is why if you, yeah, we're just moving up here. No bueno, no bueno. No bueno for the bears, yes for the bulls. But if you were to overlap this zone, then this is gonna, this will be looking bullish, because this no longer will be part of an impulsive move down. It will be part of the correction of this movement, right? So obviously you do have other options. Of course, you can overlap this pivot and then you could move down and you form a contracting move. Then that would be interesting. That would be interesting. You can overlap this pivot. It just means that you're not forming part of an impulse, but you could be forming part of a contracting diagonal here, right? You form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get the price action getting that bounce, and that's where I would be interested in the short position. Still haven't hit that pivot low. Yeah, if we roll down now and claim the lows throughout the next hour, it will be looking pretty damn good. First initial wave, second wave, wave 3, boom, boom, boom. If we start doing this and then we claim the low, then this could be it. This could be the 5-wave movement that I'm looking for to confirm literally the bearish case, right? Which is this one right over here. So yeah, I mean, the one that we've been leaning through out yesterday is not confirmed yet, right? This is the bullish case scenario. If we hit the green box right over here with this movement down, then I would give priority for the bulls. But for the moment, it is looking pretty okay for the bears. Let's see if we do get one more leg down. It's a dead cat bounce. We reclaim the lows in the next hour. We'll probably have a confirmed 5-wave structure on the lower time frame, and maybe this scenario does come into fruition. Maybe this scenario does happen. Let's go through the comment section and let's see what the people. You guys sound like you are bears, all of you, says 𝗖𝗂𝗿𝗍. Yeah, we are in a bull market. Okay, this is just a possible larger correction. Okay, it's not been. I'm a perma long-term bull on Bitcoin. I know that Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million, but I'm also a day trader. So I look to get into intraday trading setups. It's not easy for the shorts. I have to say, it's not easy for the shorts. We are in a bull market. Longs are really preferred eventually. But understanding this analysis from the last few days, from yesterday literally as well, this could be a leading move down since the rejection of all-time high, right? This could be a leading move down, and if it is a leading move down, then we have several options here. One of them being this one, which is the one that's kind of had this movement, right? So this is the one that looks like could be the scenario, and this is basically sweeping up below $106,000, right? So it's not, it's not being bearish. It's just understanding that a correction could happen. Okay, I'm a perma bull on Bitcoin long term. I know it's going to $1 million, but it's not going to be this year though. So that's why we have the long term, investment, right? We have spot bags to hold for that, right? I'm swing long position on Bitcoin since 2018, right? When we consider that. Andy expanding wave chill hills. Andy expanding wave Expanding wave? What do you mean as an expanding wave? What wave? Let's go. Lol, James closed a part of his long, bought Pepe cheap, and now he is building up his BTC long again. Yeah, this James guy is apparently, yeah, brutal whale hunt. Yeah, I think, you know, I got this part of news here. Top trader James closed part of his BTC and Pepe longs, taking a 4.4 million loss position. This is insane, you know, 4 million loss. This guy has a lot of money, right? You know, how many lives would 4 million change, right? $4 million. He lost it in a blink of 24 hours, right? Current position right now, 5,782 BTC. Long position liquidation 107.3. Yeah. Is it in a 10 million unrealized loss now? I mean, this was a few hours ago, right? This was several hours ago, so I'm not sure if, you know, this is updating every few hours. But yeah, apparently he did lose a bit of money throughout the last few days, this James guy. Interesting. James is crazy as usual. Stay live if it do, California. Smash the like button, 𝗬𝗫cie. Much love to you, my man. Expanding wave on 1 minute. Expanding wave on the 1 minute. Wow, yeah. I mean, we want to be a little bit cautious on looking at the 1 minute time frame for the waves, because it can get very confusing and very choppy. Okay, if you're looking at the 1 minute time frame to analyze the Elliott wave theory, you kind of need to zoom out a little bit, 5 minute, 15 minute. Because it can get very, very confusing. For the moment, it is actually looking good for the bulls right now. We're overlapping this pivot. You know, that's you do not want to see that pivot low overlapped, because this is giving a little bit of more options for the bulls for this to be a three-wave corrective structure. The moment where there is extreme high probability in taking out the local highs of today is if you do get to this green box, right, which is literally overlapping your last lower high, then you will have that kind of confirmation that this is a three-wave structure. And regardless, a pullback could be interesting here to get into a long. But yeah, if you do get, you know, for the moment, there's still options for the bears eventually, which would be that, you know, kind of contracting move to the downside or expanding, it doesn't matter. If you reject from here and claim the lows, a double 1-2 is also an option. 1-2, 1-2, 3. You break down. Not easy to get into a double 1-2 for a short. Preferably, you do take out the low and you get a bounce. You know, this would be like the perfect scenario for me to be getting into a short position, right? Where you're looking at this scenario. I mean, it's all having time to look at how the waves develop. If we claim the low, we get a double bottom and we bounce, then I would say, yeah, this is good. This is good. This could be an epic shorting zone. If the price moves like this, right? I don't know if it moves like this. I know there's an option that it can move like this, but if we move and take out the low, then this would be a zone of interest for a short. Zone of interest for the short. And I realize that the bulls do have the option still here, guys, okay? This is just speculating on a short. I'm more interested in a short because I'm already in a long. And, you know, I want to get into a short position, right? This is the main thing. But the bulls still have definitely the options. You know, the main reason why I'm talking about shorts is because I'm already in a long from this zone, right? And I'm interested in trying to figure out how to get into the short position with high probability, right, at the end of the day. Because maybe some people will get a little bit confused. Man, this guy is always talking about a bearish, you know, scenario. But the main thing is because I understand the bearish case scenario that could happen, which was, one of them is this one right over here that does look like the one that could be leading the scenario at the moment. But the whole main reason that I'm like looking for if we do this, then I'm interested in here. If we do that, then I'm interested in the choppiness here. That didn't happen. We got a big rejection after taking out the highs. So I'm looking for best options to get into the short, best confirmations. And as the price is getting developed, I'm going through the different possibilities, unless the price is going to be bullish and it just rallies from here, because you have this being a leading move and this a corrective structure. This does look more leading, of course. So this could literally be a double 1-2 to the upside. This could be the bullish case, which is you formed your ABC movement, you formed your wave 1, your wave 2, and now you're forming your wave 1 and 2 from your wave 3, right? It's definitely a possibility. And for this scenario to have high probability, or at least to take out the highs, okay, the all-time high, we don't know if it's going to be a wave 3 and exploding out, is when you hit this green box that I have here at 110,100. This, the scenario of the price moving higher increases when we hit this green box, right? So the probabilities of pushing out here after moving up is when you hit this green box. So, however, I'm interested in shorts because I'm already in the long, and then the short option is that one right over here, right? If you want to be a consistent, profitable trader, you need to be very, very careful with the information that you get, right? And you need to consider bullish and bearish all the time, especially if you're day trading like myself. It's always like, but now this is bullish, now this is bearish, now this is bullish, now this is bearish, right? You kind of very flip-flop all the time with the bullish and bearish case. But what would be a confirmation for me if we do claim the low here, then yeah, this is that. If we move like this, that's the moment that I would be interested in the short position, because I would be very much aware of forming a lower time frame contracting diagonal to the downside, and that would be now I want a short, right? Now I want to look for the short position here in this bounce at the 50% Fibonacci to the 7/8 from the high to the low. This is where I'm going to be interested if we do get another low right now from this zone and we do get the bounce, right? A kind of a double bottom scenario. That's the moment that I will be leaning heavily on the bearish case, which is this one. So you're just waiting for the information, waiting for the confirmation, right? And the confirmation for me would be this. This right now, right? We talked about other confirmations before. That didn't happen. We just got a little rejection of $1,000 plus. Not enough, right? So now what I want to see for me to get into the short is this. I don't know if it's going to move like this. I'm aware of the bullish case, but if it does take out the low and it gets a bounce, the lower high is at, I'm looking for a lower high in between 50% and 7/8 Fibonacci from this high to the low created. And that's the trade that I want to get into. Stop loss at the high. It's going to be more of a swing trade. It will probably take a couple of days, but I'm looking to sweep below the lows of the range. That's the overall idea here for this short position. Okay, so it's all about waiting for more confirmation, right? This whole nonsense of people trading from their phones, right, when they're at the beach or at a beach club, unless they have done their analysis very well in the morning, right, or then maybe they're swing trading. But all of these advertisements of swing trade, you can trade on your phone from with a bot, or from the beach. It's like, yeah, good luck with that. It just does take a lot of time. So anyway, the main reason I'm looking for shorts, guys, anyway, for anybody that's somebody said in the comment section, you're also bearish or looking for the price to drop, is because I'm already in a long position and I want to get into a short position, and I will get into the short, guys. Don't worry about that. I want you to get in the short, but I want you to get into the short, you know, with confirmation, right? Being confident with the analysis that is provided here. So in the long position, but I'm interested in looking for shorts, realizing the bearish case, right? Realizing that bearish case, which is this one right over here. And, you know, it's that 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave, or the A, B, and C, right? Regardless, target is taking out the lows here. So, yeah, in the long, and I'm interested in the short, taking most of the profits of this long, but I will leave some just in case, you know, price does manage to form a higher low here, doesn't take the low. We are in a bull market, so overall, maybe this does come and take our all-time highs in the next coming hours. You know, I want to get into a short, but there will be time to get into the short. This was an aggressive short position, taking out this high. It was an aggressive SFP. I don't like much this structure. Wasn't too confident. So, you know, if you're not confident in your trade, you either get into a small position or you don't trade it, right? And, you know, the other option was this one over here. Let's see if we do take out that low. We get the bounce, and then it's a confirmed scenario, right? For me, it will be a confirmed scenario. I will be happy to get into the short position, realizing that this could be what we're looking at here for the next 24 to 48 hours, right? So, yeah, if you are interested in trading legends, remember that bluffing gives you 15% cash back. Okay, 15% cash back on your initial deposit. Okay, up to $5,000. You maintain it for 3 days. You're going to get that airdrop of 15%. Take advantage. This will increase your capital. You also get a fee discount on bluffing, also on weeks, guys. Okay, you got 20% deposit on weeks. You also get $30,000 deposit maximum. The more you trade, the more airdrops you're going to get. And you also got 25% fee reduction on weeks legends. Okay. It's the first and second link. You only need an email and a password for both of these exchanges. Take advantage, guys, for those bonuses. And it's another way to support the channel eventually, right? As you know, smash up the like button, says Crypto Big Brains. Do you think, let me know in the comment section, that this drawing is what is happening on the price of Bitcoin? And we're going to take out below $106,000, guys. Do you think this analysis that was talked about yesterday is the one that is coming to fruition? It's the one where we literally took out the highs after the correction, and we are in the middle stages here of getting a larger move down to get below $106,000. Do you think this is what's happening, or this is a bunch of BS? We're in a bull market. What we're doing now is correcting, and we are going to be forming the bullish case scenario, right? Which is this one right over here. And we're just literally forming the second 1-2 to get that leg to the upside. There's the other scenario here as well, guys, which is the ABC flat. Something that we want to take into consideration, right? It's that ABC from here to here to here. What we would want to see here... Yeah, what we would want to see here, you formed your A wave, your B wave, and right now you're in the formation of your C wave. So literally what you would want to see is a 5-wave move up here to complete your ABC movement, right? Oh, there's maybe it's a bit of too much information for you. I will be updating on these scenarios in the Legends trading community eventually. But this is also a scenario here. Okay. I think I prefer this. It does look like that this one could be the leading move at the moment. Basically the one that we mentioned yesterday. But this is a scenario that could happen, right? You'd need to form a higher low in this region between 50% and 7/8. And then you get your third wave, fourth and fifth to complete your C wave, which is a 3-wave structure inside of your larger A, B, and C wave down, right? Later on. If we were to move like this and get the choppiness here, then yeah, this is an SFP level, or it's either a wait for the breakdown, 5-wave structure, and then jump in on the bounce, right? To then move down, which you would have to wait for the confirmation leg rejection, right? Anyway, let's go through comment section right away. We did almost get to 500 likes, guys. It's not going to happen on the stream. We did say 700 likes and we would do a giveaway. Tomorrow we will try again, right? We're going to aim for 700 likes to give $500 to a lucky winner, all right, in the comment section live. Take out James. Yeah, what is it? James in a long position right at the moment, right? By the looks of things. Andy, if it hits below 106, would it also hit 95? Well, you know, the question is about this movement, right? The thing about this analysis that we provided throughout the last few days locally, if this analysis is correct, right? We do not know, I do not know, if the movement down is going to be incredibly impulsive. What we are looking at right now is literally the local price action for this to be, you know, I don't know if this is going to happen, right? Let's just keep it, you know, quick here. I do not know if this is going to be the movement. And I don't know if this is going to be the movement, right? Where you form an ABC to the downside, right? Let's just put this like this, right? But what I do know is that, yeah, we could be heading beneath the lows. That would be your target 1. I just don't know if this is going to be an ABC movement and then we rally back above again, or we actually going to move down aggressively in a wave 3. Could we get down to 95? Yeah, if it is going to start moving down impulsively in a wave 3, absolutely. I mean, this is, you know, it would be epic if we do manage to get into that short successfully once we get a bit of confirmation based on the analysis on the lower time frame. It would be epic that the price actually breaks down pretty aggressively, right? It might get a wave 1, do wave 2, and then boom, 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 right, throughout the next coming days, and then you're forming a wave 3 here, and that would be absolutely epic, right? If you're in the short. If you're not in the short, or if you're in a long from lower, then eventually that will not be good news. But you know, I understand that this could it could happen, right? It could happen when we're taking it level to level here, legends, right? As always. So can we take out 95k? Absolutely. If we are going to be moving down in an impulse here, yeah, 95k without a doubt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this third wave can be pretty devastating. People are going to start questioning the bull market, right? So yeah, I mean, I want to be in that short for sure, right? We are starting to see those signs on the analysis from yesterday. We are starting to literally move on that scenario that we talked about yesterday on how the price action could develop. This is how the price is moving, right? Right now, the question is it a confirmed movement down? We're in the middle of this movement on the analysis that we talked about yesterday. We did actually move like this, 3-wave move, took out the highs, and now we're moving down. Now the question is right now is it confirmed, right? And for me, like I said, if we take out the lows locally here right now in the next coming minutes, it's going to be looking very good. Very, very good for that scenario that we mentioned yesterday. If we take out the lows here again, I mean, it could be a double 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and it starts really rolling down. And that's eventually, it gives you, it's very difficult to jump into the short if it's a double 1-2. But the best case scenario would be create a double bottom just so we can have a contracting diagonal here in a 5-wave move. If we do take out that low here and we bounce, this is the zone that I want to get into, right? 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci, right? Let's just put the levels here. This would be the area if we take out that low and we double bottom, I would be ready to really look for the short position in this zone. And this would be more of a swing short position, eh? You know, this is going to be like, this could be the short. So this is why it doesn't matter catching the high. Don't worry, I will be in the short position. I just need a little bit of that information, a little bit more information, more confidence. And this short right over here, stop loss at the high. You know, we're targeting the lows at first of all, but this could really break down. Huh? This could, you know, this could literally really move down aggressively in the next coming days, big time. So it doesn't really matter if you catch the high or not, right? Just so that's, you know, it would be more of a swing short, guys, because the possibilities of moving lower in the next coming days will yeah, at least to take out the lows here at $106,000, right? The lows of the range is there. So yeah, there's is looking pretty good for the moment for the bearish case. If we move down right now and we do not form that contracting diagonal and the price breaks down from here like this, then don't worry, you know, some kind of a bounce is going to happen at some stage. What we would be looking at here, if we break down and we don't double bottom to get that short on the bounce, and it moves down a bit more aggressive. I mean, usually the bears are more aggressive on the movements down. What we could be looking at is a 112, right? Which is literally, you know, I would be looking for this. You know, wait for the bounce at some stage. It's going to happen. Right? You know, this is what I would be looking at if you move down aggressively and you don't double bottom. So it's either the contracting diagonal, you're moving a three-wave structure, boom, you move to the downside, you're looking for 50% to the 7-8, back testing the zone again. If you break down aggressively and it's like, oh, I want to jump into the short, right? I'm missing the short. I didn't short from higher levels. There will be some kind of a bounce happening, right? In a three-wave structure, right? There will be some kind of a bounce that will highly likely, most commonly, eventually get to the 50%, maybe golden pocket. That's where I would be interested. And it still becomes a swing short, right? It still becomes one of those shorts that to look for sub 106, 105K, right? This is more of a swing short position, legends, right? You'd look for the stop loss here and really look for the breakdown in the next coming days. So anyway, we need a bit more information here because the bullish cases, you know, I'm only talking about bearish cases, but the bullish case is still very much active. This is why I'm still maintaining some of this long position from lower. I'm interested in getting into the short. I do not want to miss the short. I don't care if I've missed the high. I'm still very much aware of the bullish case. And I will have time to jump in later on once I get a little bit of more info. Okay, no, just so yeah, let's go, legends. I'm going to wrap it up. Okay, thank you very much. Maybe 500 likes. Yeah, we can get to 500 likes maybe. Show some love. Let's hit to 700 likes tomorrow. Let's try again for the giveaway. Andy, you're a legend. Marcelo, much love to you. Jason, down. Jason, down. Down we go. Much love to everybody. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, look at the information that we have. The bullish case is still very much active. Okay, several scenarios, maybe too much information. We'll be back with more tomorrow, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to join the Legends Trading community if you want more updates, setups, and scenarios. You got all of the modules on learning how to get your trading to the next level. Okay, that's the 5th link down below. Legends Trading community. All right. That's where you get more information apart from YouTube, right? Setups, scenarios, altcoins, which will lead you to the website, and that's where you can join. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.